Hello everyone, and welcome back to Project X Mystery. Today, we're diving deep into the twisted and chilling story of one of America's most notorious serial killers. A man who wore the mask of charm and intellect, but hid a darkness so profound that it would leave the nation in shock. His name was Ted Bundy, and his story is not just one of brutal murders, but of deception, manipulation, and a horrifying game of cat and mouse with law enforcement. Buckle up, because this story will grip you from the very beginning to the bitter, final end. Ted Bundy was born on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont. His early life was complicated, to say the least. Raised by his grandparents while being told that his mother was his sister, Ted grew up in a household shrouded in lies and secrets. It wasn't until his teenage years that he discovered the truth about his parentage, an event that seemed to unearth a rage deep within him. Bundy later claimed that he harbored no resentment about his upbringing, but those who studied his case have often pointed to this revelation as a critical moment that shaped his distorted sense of self. As he grew older, Bundy projected an image of normalcy and success. He was a psychology major at the University of Washington and was deeply involved in politics, working for the Republican Party. Intelligent, charming, and undeniably handsome, Bundy had an uncanny ability to make people feel comfortable around him. Women, in particular, found him captivating, never suspecting that behind his charismatic smile lurked a ruthless predator. He dated Elizabeth Klopfer for years, maintaining a seemingly loving relationship, while secretly leading a double life of unimaginable brutality. The first known murders attributed to Ted Bundy occurred in 1974, but there are suspicions that his killing spree began much earlier. In January of that year, young women started disappearing from the Seattle area. One of the first victims was Linda and Healy, a 21-year-old student who vanished from her basement room without a trace. Bundy was meticulous. He would stalk his victims for days, learning their routines, their habits, and the best moment to strike. His method was both cunning and horrifying. He would often pretend to be injured, wearing a cast or using crutches to appear vulnerable, then lure his victims to his car, a Volkswagen Beetle that became a rolling death chamber. Throughout 1974, more women went missing. Janice Ott and Denise Naslund vanished from Lake Sammamish State Park on the same day, July 14th. Witnesses reported seeing a handsome young man with his arm in a sling, struggling to carry a briefcase, asking women for help. The fact that he managed to abduct two women in broad daylight in a crowded park showcased just how brazen and confident he had become. By the end of the year, panic had set in across the Pacific Northwest. But Ted Bundy remained invisible to investigators, his ability to blend into society making him the ultimate chameleon. In 1975, his luck began to change. He was pulled over in Utah, and inside his car, police found handcuffs, an ice pick, rope, and a ski mask, an alarming collection of items that finally pointed to something far more sinister than a simple traffic violation. Bundy was arrested, and over the coming months, police began piecing together the connections between his presence and the disappearances of numerous women. Yet despite mounting evidence, Bundy's charm continued to work in his favor. He defended himself in court, captivating audiences and manipulating perceptions to portray himself as an innocent man wrongly accused. Before we dive deeper into the intense courtroom drama and Bundy's shocking escapes, take a moment to support our channel by hitting that like button and subscribing if you haven't already. Your support keeps us going and helps us continue to bring you these gripping stories every week. Bundy's first escape from custody was nothing short of genius. While acting as his own attorney in 1977, he was allowed access to the law library in the Pitkin County Courthouse. Taking advantage of lax supervision, he jumped from a second-story window and fled into the mountains. Despite a manhunt, he evaded capture for 6 days before being found cold, hungry, and exhausted. Incredibly, that would not be his last escape. Later that year, Bundy managed to escape again, this time from a jail in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, after sawing a hole in the ceiling of his cell and crawling through the ductwork. By the time authorities realized he was missing, Bundy was already on his way to Florida, leaving death and chaos in his wake. In Florida, his killing spree resumed with terrifying ferocity. On January 15, 1978, he broke into the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University. Within minutes, he had brutally attacked 4 women, killing 2 of them, Lisa Levy and Margaret Bowman. Bundy then fled, but not before leaving behind crucial bite mark evidence that would later seal his fate. Just weeks later, he abducted and killed 12-year-old Kimberly Leach, a crime so heinous that even the most steadfast supporters of Bundy's innocence began to falter. Bundy's final arrest came on February 15, 1978, after being pulled over by Officer David Lee. This time, there was no smooth talking his way out of custody. The trial that followed was a media sensation. Bundy chose to represent himself, captivating audiences with his poise and intellect, yet the evidence was overwhelming. Testimonies from survivors and the chilling bite mark analysis sealed his fate. On February 10, 1980, he was sentenced to death. For nearly a decade on death row, Bundy continued to manipulate the media and toy with investigators, confessing to more than 30 murders but hinting at many others. He seemed to relish the control he maintained, even as his execution date approached. Finally, on January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed in the electric chair at Florida State Prison. Crowds gathered outside the prison to celebrate, holding signs that read,
"Burn, Bundy, burn!"
To this day, Bundy's story continues to haunt the American psyche. He shattered the illusion that monsters could be easily identified, showing instead that evil can hide behind the most charming of faces. His cunning, manipulation, and ruthless brutality serve as a grim reminder that sometimes the most terrifying predators are the ones we least expect. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey into the mind of Ted Bundy. If you found this story as gripping as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We'll be back next time with another story that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Stay curious, stay safe, and goodbye.